really, when you're talking about the polar vortex itself, it doesn't make it that far to the south. This is usually something that will affect the northern part of the United States. But I told you it's going to be dangerous in the Northeast this weekend. We're talking wind chills on the order of 20 to 30 below in some spots, okay? And that's starting to get to the point where, you can get frostbite if you've got exposed skin out there for 20, 25 minutes, maybe even less if the wind chill gets colder.
Of car accidents across several states where millions are bundled up, faced with life-threatening cold. Frigid air blowing into Chicago tonight, temperatures plummeting to 25 below in spots like 55 below.
If you don't need to be outside at this time, don't go outside.
Rail switches under fire to keep trains moving. Just about all of us are feeling the sting.
I think you just grin and bear it. Just trying to stay warm.
85% of the country will be at or below freezing, and it's not just cold. There's snow and ice, too. We've got teams covering it all.
I'm Dylan Dreyer in Minneapolis. We are in the middle of an 80-hour stretch of temperatures below zero, with wind chills of -50. Every inch of your body needs to be covered, including your eyes, which is why I have these goggles. Your corneas can actually freeze if they're unprotected and cold for an extended period of time.
I'm Von Hilliard in Des Moines, where it's going to feel like 45 below. With wind chills that low, frostbite can set in about 5 minutes.
I'm Kevin Tibbles in Atlanta, where Super Bowl celebrations got off to a soggy start this morning. 1 million people are expected to descend on this city for the big game, and forecasters are saying this could be the coldest week of the winter.
I'm Garrett Hake in Washington, D.C., where the rain and snow hitting the mid-Atlantic right now will make for a treacherous rush hour.
Vulnerable populations are especially at risk.
We're talking small children, the elderly, and those on certain medications, especially if they're on antidepressant or cardiac medications, that could possibly cause an issue.
That's because some medications make it harder to regulate body temperature. The bitter cold also a threat to animals. Overnight, pets should be brought inside, and dogs fitted with footwear for outdoor walks. A brutal stretch of cold that's just getting underway. Because of all this cold weather, the U.S. Postal Service is planning to suspend delivery services tomorrow in Minnesota, Iowa, and parts of Wisconsin and Illinois, simply too dangerous for those carriers.
Whiteouts and wipeouts. Hundreds of deep freeze gripping the Midwest and bringing punishing cold to the Northeast.
It just rips right through you, right into the bone.
I have like 5 layers on, hand warmers, feet warmers.
In New Jersey, a massive warehouse fire taking crews more than 12 hours to control. The unbearable cold and ice making it harder to fight. Across 27 states. More icebox than Windy City, the deep freeze here in Chicago has been relentless. For the past 48 hours, it hasn't been above zero. The wind chill coming off Lake Michigan isn't helping. It's beautiful, even stunning, but it's also downright dangerous. Chicago broke a record Wednesday, its coldest temperature since '85. One local paper spelling it out.
Speaking of records, we also set one yesterday in Des Moines, where temperatures hit 20 below zero. It was colder here than it was in the Arctic Circle.
In Detroit, we're breaking records also. 13 below before wind chill. With wind chill, how about 30 below? That's what it feels like. The previous record, 1951.
No, we didn't set a record in New York City today. It's still freezing. We dipped to 2 degrees this morning, and when you add in wind chill, it felt like 17 below.
When the Arctic front hit D.C. yesterday, the temperature dropped 10 degrees in just 15 minutes. And today, we nearly broke a record that stood since 1936.
In Michigan, the town of Hell froze over. The governor asking residents to conserve energy after an equipment failure, trying to ensure everyone can get at least some heat.
This is not over until noon tomorrow, and so we are asking that people continue to keep their thermostats down.
Tonight, a bitter blast and an unforgiving freeze. In the Midwest and Northeast, they broke more than 100 records for cold temperatures, and it's still brutal out here today. But relief is on the way for cities like Chicago. Yesterday, it felt like negative 52 here. By Sunday, it'll feel 95 degrees warmer. And take a look at this scene, Lester. This city needs it.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking.
This is a polar vortex 3D model.